Hello, today we're going to use Hapla 7mm semi-compressed felt to make the D filler pad or Valgus filler pad or arch fill pad, and we're going to make it in such a way that we are lifting or giving some support to the tailor head in that space between the sustentaculum tali on the calcaneus and the navicular on its adjacent side. And we're just going to, with this valgus filler, we're going to fill this space up here where it's literally the non-weight bearing part of the medial longitudinal arch. So around this portion just distal to the heel, the fat pad here, along the border of the third metatarsal shaft, because obviously remember, the valgus filler pad does not cover the fourth and fifth metatarsal shafts as they bear weight. And then obviously it's going to, the distal edge of the pad will finish then proximal to the metatarsal heads, culminating then just behind the first metatarsal head. And the idea, yes, is to give some tailor support, but also to bring weight bearing to the arch. Because by bringing weight bearing to the arch area of the foot, this idea of pressure equals force divided by area, so as we extend, as we increase the area, the weight-bearing area of the foot, we lower then the pressure, the resultant pressure that force brings to bear over those areas. With the idea that we can also then offload some of the heel and some of the forefoot. Okay, so let's get started. Taking our 7mm felt, so the Hapla 7mm felt here, put this to one side. We're going to cut out the shape that we need first, and so remember, we're going to fill this area here, the non-weight bearing area. So we're going to cut roughly a rectangular shape first to give ourselves plenty of felt so we can use this. Now, cutting this out, let's put that to one side. Okay, slightly larger, let's shape it. It's going to look what I like to think of as half of a heart. So, or a comma shape, or a half heart shape. So it's going to move up and then across. So let's cut it from the corner to shape that half heart shape, if you like. So up it comes like so. We're sweeping up, then sweeping up this area. Then we're going to follow, so it spans slightly outward. We're going to follow that third metatarsal shaft. Up it comes. And then we're going to sweep across. Okay, so if you can extend your imagination a little, this looks like half of a cartoon heart. But if we apply it next to the plantar aspect of the foot, we'll note that when we've done our beveling, it will finish just fractionally proximal to the first metatarsal head there. Note how it doesn't cover the fourth and fifth metatarsals, okay, on this area here, because we're only filling up the non-weight bearing area, and it extends out just literally here, over that sort of tailor head area. Obviously this is too large, so we're going to cut it back slightly. But first off, we're going to put a bevel in around those lateral, the distal, lateral and proximal edges, and we're just going to do a 45-degree, standard 45-degree bevel. You can, if you wish, do a pie crust bevel to extend that bevel further into the pad, which I'll just show you in a moment. So 45 degrees is generally okay as it sits in this area here. This is to make sure then that this blends, so the ground just blends into this surface here, so the continuation is maintained. It's not like a block. You can't just, you're falling off the edge on this side. A pie crust bevel is where you place your finger underneath and you push up the felt, and then with your scissors into that gap, into the V between the anvil of the scissor and the blade of the scissor here, you just push your finger up into that gap and you trim away like so. And you carry on round, and as you can see, it extends the bevel further into the pad. But 45 degrees generally is fine. If you're using for a much larger foot or that had a higher arch profile, then you might be using 10mm felt, and 10mm felt then with a pie crust bevel would certainly be comfortable. But 7mm felt, 45-degree bevel is fine. Okay, so let's place this here. Now, obviously we have a bit of excess here, so let's trim that away, but we don't want to trim it all away. So We could, of course, just put a 45-degree bevel here, but what I like to do in particular is I like to put an under bevel in this part here. So I under bevel here. Why? Because when hosiery is worn, when hosiery is worn, the hosiery then will lift this piece of felt into the foot, like so. And similarly, so will that medial border of the shoe, giving that nice, comfortable, smooth and flush feeling to your pad. Also, it gives you an opportunity when you're putting the pad on also to pull this pad as well, which is quite useful with a Valgus filler pad. So what we can do then now is peel off the paper backing, okay? And we can apply the pad into the surface here, into making sure it doesn't cover any of the weight-bearing surfaces. Okay, now, note then, we have this portion here, holding with the eminence of your thumb here, grab the felt and lift it up into the arch. So now not only are we bringing more weight-bearing surface to bear underneath the foot, but we're also giving that little bit of lift as well with our Valgus filler into the skin. So place your pad and pull it up. Okay, now we're going to secure this with a retentive strapping, but the retentive strapping is also going to form part of the function of this Valgus filler pad with this lift too. So using 5 centimetre width Haploband from Cox & Gerard then, we're just going to go 3, maybe 4 pieces, but let's measure it out. 3 pieces. So we're going to go the distal piece, a central piece and a proximal piece. Just measure those out. So they will start slightly dorsolaterally, traverse across the pad, and then we'll stick medially. And as we place them on, we're going to give a little bit of pull on that pad to give that further support function. Okay, let's trim off those edges so that they aren't grabbed by hosiery. Okay, first piece then. Starting proximally, let's peel off the paper back. Haploband has a nice 15% stretch in there, so enables us to put a little bit of tension across, but not too much. So if we just cover the pad, just lay your tape on gently, smooth it slightly dorsolaterally, and moving around here, just lay it on gently without any particular stretch. And then when we come medially, tension the skin slightly, lift a fraction and stick. There's our first piece. This pad will stay on approximately 3 to 4 days through bathing and showering, functional bathing and showering. Can be patted dry with a towel. After that though, it will come away. And this is only a temporary feature, as is padding, okay. Second piece, roughly 50% overlap, slightly dorsolaterally. Again, just lay it down. But as we come medially and vertically, again, tension the skin, lift a fraction and stick, okay. And then the final piece, which we're going to apply here on the distal part of the pad, we're just going to lay that down, okay, because we don't really want to put any dorsiflexory force through that first metatarsal and its metcuneiform joint. So these proximal pieces, proximal central piece lift certainly, but the final piece we're just going to lay down, okay, just as a retentive strap over the top. So, oops, let's try not to get any creasing, that's it. A little bit of tension to get rid of the creasing. The stretchiness in the tape is really good because a little bit of stretch in that tape then allows you to lay it down without any creasing. And then we just lay that centrally over there. And there is our 7mm semi-compressed felt plant Valgus filler pad to bring weight bearing to the arch of the medial longitudinal arch, offloading heel and forefoot, but also to give that little bit of support to the tailor head.